Two new nuclear reactors that were abandoned mid-construction at South Carolina's V.C. Summer nuclear plant were identical to those two reactors going up down the road at Plant Vogtle.
But the Vogtle construction continues. News Channel 6's Ann Maxwell is investigating why Georgia Power chose to go forward with construction and the impact that decision has on customers' power bills. She's live now in the newsroom with a special report. Ann.
Both sets of reactors are the same AP1000 technology designed by Westinghouse, and both have been troubled by delays and cost overruns. I've been following the money, and both projects' costs lead back to ordinary people's power bills. But in Georgia, the financial risk has been lower.
It's the current that keeps the lights on and powers our lives. And for more than 2 million households in Georgia, that current comes from Georgia Power. The company has thrown its weight behind nuclear energy. It is investing billions of its customers' dollars in 2 new reactors at Plant Vogtle. South Carolina Electric and Gas made the same bet on nuclear energy, but that's a gamble that won't see a reward. For the past 9 years, customers have been paying to build the V.C. Summer plant, but now the project is dead. The owners said it was just too expensive to continue. Now, the companies behind the project, SCANA and Santee Cooper, are in hot water. SCANA is under criminal investigation. The CEOs of both companies have stepped down, and the lawsuits are piling up.
The question is, of course, whether Vogtle could follow the lines of Summer. I think they could.
Persistent problems with construction came into sharper focus in March when nuclear contractor Westinghouse filed for bankruptcy. Santee Cooper and SCANA threw in the towel, but Georgia Power and its partners were not ready to give up on nuclear. It's a move that would add an extra $1.4 billion to power bills and delay the completion date by 2.5 years. Georgia Power's decision hinges on a cost analysis that was based on a lot of assumptions. Assumptions that include billions of dollars from federal loans, tax credits, and a check from Toshiba, the parent company of Westinghouse. They say these savings would be passed on to ratepayers. But if that money doesn't come through,
it could be that all those things cascade into a worst-case scenario, and Georgia Power could be where V.C. Summer is.
So far, Toshiba has made its first payment and the DOE has approved billions more in loan guarantees. But Georgia Power is still waiting on word from Washington on the fate of hundreds of millions of dollars in federal tax credits. If those credits don't come through, customers may have to make up the difference every month.
Does that kind of risk give you pause?
There is risk. There was risk when this commission decided a decade ago to go forward with this project. It's not without risk. And that's one thing that this commission has to weigh between now and February to determine, is the benefit of this next generation of nuclear power worth that risk?
The financial risk of nuclear power is a lot lower in Georgia. Georgia Power has nearly 3 times the number of customers as SCANA, so more people share the financial burden.
The population of Metro Atlanta equals essentially the population of South Carolina.
Both reactor projects have faced the same hurdles, but Georgia Power has been more transparent with its challenges. The public can keep up with construction through semi-annual reports and hearings as mandated by state law. In South Carolina, that wasn't the case.
Based on my reading of what's been filed by Georgia Power, it's a bit more detailed and robust and a little bit easier to understand than typical filings by South Carolina Electric and Gas.
Now, the ball is in the Public Service Commission's court. In this report, Georgia Power challenges the commission to halt work on the project if they think the assumptions don't cut it.
But I believe that this commission is also favorable toward continuing this plant as long as everything comes into place.
But even if the thousands of workers in Waynesboro are sent packing, Georgia Power customers will pick up the tab for the $3 million a day construction project. That provision is part of a law that went on the books in 2009.
I think over these next 2 to 4 to 6 years, I think it's going to be real important for the commission and the legislature to do its job and really monitor what's going on, because there's still a lot of unknowns.
Hearings on the plant's future will begin on November 6th, and the commission will make the decision on whether to approve Georgia Power's recommendation to move forward with the project in February. Brad?